You know, Stuart, in Zero Trust, the big grand strategic concept is to figure out what the business objectives are. What does the business need to do? And that's what we don't do very well in cybersecurity, is align business objectives to what cybersecurity is actually accomplishing. And as we see that mainframe use is still so huge, I mean, what percentage of the world's data is still running and transacting on mainframes?
Oh, it's still over 80% of the data sits on a mainframe today.
And how about financials? I hear it's big too.
Oh, financials, it's huge. Look at the number of transactions that are running as well, right? Over 90% of the world's transactions are conducted on a mainframe platform.
And so it seems to me that the mainframe is tied into this larger ecosystem of business, right? And so it's not just about movements in DevOps or cloud or data center. It's about where is your data stored, how does it move, and how should we secure it, right?
Absolutely, right. And it's so critical. All that important business data is sitting up on that mainframe, right? So when we talk about, you know, an area that we need to protect, right, that is the key platform, right? But the other part is just transactional data. You want to prevent that data from being corrupted, because that's the fuel that runs your business transactions, your business applications. You contaminate that fuel, let's say you corrupt that data, these applications stop, transactions stop, the business stops.
Absolutely. So the way in Zero Trust that we do it is we define that mainframe, or the data on the mainframe, is what's known as a protect surface. You know, a lot of people are focusing on the attack surface, which is really the entire internet, the entire world. But we can shrink the attack surface down to something very, very, very small and very easy to know, called a protect surface. And so that's why we focus on the protect surface in Zero Trust. So let's put a protect surface around that mainframe, right? And start put the correct controls so that the right users get access to the right data at the right time, under the right circumstances, and we have the right monitoring, and we can have complete visibility on what's going on in there. What do you think of that idea?
Oh, I love it. And one of the many reasons I love Zero Trust and the principles under Zero Trust so much is that we've just been so aligned with it from our, you know, our security architecture that we push with our customers, the capabilities that we deliver, because there is a vast amount of data on the mainframe. You can't afford to invest in the level of security required to protect everything. So a key part of our security architecture, the processes we ask our customers to take on, right, is just doing an assessment, doing an understanding of what you need to protect as phase one, and then setting up all your additional layers on top of that to protect that.
Absolutely, get visibility into what's important.
Exactly, yeah.
In Zero Trust, we call those DAS elements: data, applications, assets, or services. But not all data that's important. That's your critical data, your high value assets, your custodial or compliance related assets like PCI data, for example, or your intellectual property. A lot of people forget to protect their intellectual property, but that's what some of these nation states are coming after. So take a DAS element, put it into a protect surface, and put a micro perimeter around it and enforce it with a layer 7 segmentation gateway with policy, and then automate that process. And now you've put so much friction in front of the attacker that they're going to move on to some other low-hanging fruit.
Right, exactly. And I love that, you know, DAS methodology that you have, because it allows you to really start to understand what are the areas, what are the segments I need to focus on, and then prioritize each segment. Some of them are more critical than others. I may have the transaction application that without it my business dies, or I could have an HR application that processes some employee records every so often. I'm not going to put the same level of investment from a security point of view to protect both of these. So it's understanding that and leveraging those capabilities, investing in those capabilities to protect those very, very critical assets that go back to one of your original point, that are important to your business. So this has to be, what's your business strategy, right? And what assets underpin those strategies, right? Underpin your normal business operations. And What's critical is to also understand those levels of capabilities that are available to you, right? The mainframe is very modern. We've got a lot of modernized security capabilities on the mainframe that allow us to take what we've had for years around the security managers and layer on additional security, whether it's data scanning and classification, whether it's multi-factor authentication, or privileged access management around those very critical privileged users, right? It's looking at those DAS areas, right, and layering the security capabilities around the most critical areas.
Now, another thing that you and I are in violent agreement on is that we have to automate this, don't we?
Oh, very much so, right? Couldn't agree more.
I mean, I think one of the things that we focus on is we think we're so afraid of the false positives, we're so afraid of a bad thing happening that we won't allow a good thing to happen. And we're so thinking that we have to have a human being look at it because, well, they'll know intuitively whether that's good or bad. And that's not true, is it?
No, it's not, right? Because, I mean, I look at, let's pick, I mentioned privileged users before, right? These are the users I really want to monitor the most, right? I want to be able to automate what happens. Now, something that we've done at Broadcom, we've implemented actually a very advanced privileged access management capability that doesn't even really appear on many other platforms. And what it focuses on is allowing privileged users to be in a non-privileged state most of their working day. But when they really need to do something, like I need to bring up the database or whatever, right? They can dynamically elevate their privileges to do that. Now, when that happens, automatically, extensive monitoring goes on. Every keystroke you make is monitored, right? So we monitor everything they do, but all of that's done automatically. And we're also looking for anomalies to the behavior as well, right? Why is that important? Because I could set up all my access controls and I give John access to what he needs to do to get his job done during the day. But, you know, what happens if someone hijacks those credentials? Yeah, we don't want it to happen, but it can happen. And suddenly it's not John that's logged on to John's account anymore, right? So this is why I need to understand John's behavior. John logs on between 9 and 5, Monday to Friday. And rarely logs on at the weekends, right? But suddenly I notice that John's now logged on at 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, right? And he's just downloaded 50,000 records from a database he's never really touched before.
I tell you, that's not the real John, because John is not going to be doing work at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night.
I'm glad to hear it. You see, there's a real anomaly, right? Exactly, right? But that's what we need to do. We need to be able to detect those, right? And understand this is not his behavior. Something's happened, we fire an alert, and these alerts, we take all these alerts on the mainframe, we send it up to your favorite SIM platform.
Or your favorite managed services platform like Onto-it.
Exactly. It's exactly right. Get some real expertise in there.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.
You too, my friend.